Author-covered novels, the way musicians cover songs. Which covered novel would you be most excited to read? Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Stephen King cover. A Dr. Seuss version of Romeo and Juliet. Anne Rice, Twilight, 200% less sparkle. Neil Gaiman's take on Harry Potter. H.P. Lovecraft covering The Cat in the Hat would be interesting. Let's hope the titular character doesn't get renamed. Lord of the Flies by Kurt Vonnegut. You thought it was a bit fucked up already, huh? I think I'd like to read Chuck Palahniuk's take on Charlotte's Web. Tolkien's Dune. Douglas Adams' rewrite of the Bible. Dr. Seuss's The Communist Manifesto. Green Eggs and Ham, Edgar Allan Poe cover. 50 Shades of Grey by Stephen King. I wanna read Ron Chernow, biographer, write Harry Potter like it's a biography. It's worth noting that this is pretty much how stories passed down through oral traditions worked. Each storyteller would add their own unique flares and ways of telling the same basic story. Mixing disparate styles would be the most fun, I think. Neil Stephenson doing The Old Man and the Sea or Hemingway doing Moby Dick would be interesting. Super Fudge by William S. Burroughs. There are a couple of series of cover novels that actually exist. Hogarth Shakespeare books of Margaret Atwood retelling The Tempest, Hagsid, Joan Esbo telling Macbeth and so on. The Austen Project did a similar thing for Jane Austen, with Joanna Trollope, Sense and Sensibility, Val McDermid, Northanger Abbey, and others. George R.R. Martin covering the entire Harry Potter series. A Lemony Snicket version of One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. The fish was vermilion, a word which here means a red so vivid that it could be a stop sign, if fish had a need for one. I am not as well read as most people, but I would want to see somebody really do the Hunger Games justice. Just this nasty, gory, gritty 3-part novel about kids fighting to the death. Bukowski covers the Bible. Terry Pratchett doing Elotra or Game of Thrones would be pretty boss. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Neil Gaiman. I want Harry Potter by you/poem_for_your_sprog. I'll post the same thing I did the last time this question got posted here. There's a sci-fi novel called Pastwatch, The Redemption of Christopher Columbus, that has some really interesting premises about European history, alternate timelines, etc. There's a lot of potential there to go in lots of directions. Unfortunately, the author is a neoconservative homophobic Mormon. So the solution to the novel's problems is to go back in time and spread evangelical Christianity throughout America before any of the European colonists arrive. That way all the Christian forces on both sides of the Atlantic can join up together, return to Europe with amazing weaponry, and obliterate all other religions. That's his actual solution for a better future. Not even joking. In an effort to appear modern and inclusive, the author includes a Muslim character as one of the protagonists, who, upon traveling back in time, immediately becomes a suicide bomber. I really want some more sane author to have a go at the story. Keep the same initial premise, but then have a plotline that isn't a rabid bigot's wet dream. Ulysses by Hemingway. Tom Clancy's version of Roots or Dr. Seuss To Kill a Mockingbird. I've always said I want Harry Potter written by Stephen King. 50 Shades by Tom Clancy. It would be a train wreck, but a hilariously overblown, overly technical train wreck I won't be able to look hackay from. I'd read anything by Jane Austen covered by Stephen King. Brandon Sanderson. Song of Ice and Fire. Then I'll get to actually read the ending. Cormac McCarthy's version of The Gunslinger. Dark Tower by Chuck Palahniuk. Make it even darker. The Bible by C.S. Lewis. You mean like the Chronicles of Narnia? How about the Bible by Stephen King then, specifically Revelations? That would be amazing. Isn't that just The Stand? How about the Bible in comic format? I believe there is already one called Superman. Fuck you. Come to think of it, aren't most comic books just covers of other comics and thereby, in the case of Superman, covers of the Bible? Modern Superman comics are covers of a cover, no? That fun little dialogue aside, people have been covering the Bible for centuries. Books get covered all the time. The Bible is just the most prominent example. They're called retellings rather than covers. You can easily find a ton of them by googling novel retellings. There's also fanfiction, which is exactly that. You can find fanfiction for any halfway popular novel retelling the original story in any genre you could imagine. Nearly every Western fairy tale by the Grimm brothers or Hans Christian Andersen have been covered multiple times. The Lunar Chronicles are sci-fi retellings of those classics. Dracula by Dacre Stoker is a recent retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Emma, a modern retelling by Alexander Smith is, well, a retelling of Emma by Jane Austen. Literally every Shakespeare play has been retold to death many times over, not nearly as much as the Bible, but still. Lovecraft covering The Cat in the Hat. Damn, this is interesting AF. Any Stephen King book covered by Lemony Snicket would be hilarious. Harry Potter, covered by George R.R. Martin. A J.K. Rowling version of Oliver Twist or a Stephen King version of A Christmas Carol. The Secret by Carl Sagan. I would have just loved for Brandon Sanderson to rewrite the entire Wheel of Time series. This is a hilarious concept. I'd probably be super stoked to get my hands on Douglas Adams' Lord of the Rings. Most of Tolkien's writing was as dry as a mummy's dick. I liked The Hobbit, but the other books were more like reading a textbook on fantasy literature than fantasy literature. Adams could have made the journey to Mount Doom riotously entertaining without losing its edge. Harry Potter by C.S. Lewis. Hemingway rewriting the Book of Job. Dr. Seuss's 50 Shades of Grey. Curious George by George Orwell.